For 26 years, Joanne and I shared a life, a history woven together since we were just 17 years old. High school sweethearts, our paths crossed despite the miles between our schools, mine in one part of town, hers at the Catholic high school across the way. We knew each other's rhythms so well. Right after graduation, we made the decision to travel. A bit of adventure before settling down, before life with kids would alter our plans for freedom. It was a time for us to savor the world before it became a smaller, family-centered place. It wasn't just youthful excitement that pushed us to explore, it was also the inheritance I received after my grandfather passed. The land he passed on to my father, and eventually to me, became our foundation. We built a home on it, and soon after, Joanne was pregnant with our first son. My roots in farming ran deep, it's in my blood, my family's legacy. I grew up working alongside my grandfather and father on our farm, learning every trick of the trade. It was never a burden, never something I resented, it was simply what I was born to do. Joanne, too, came from hard-working stock. Her father was the finest mechanic around. That's how we met, her dad fixing our equipment on the farm. She tagged along, and the sparks flew. The connection was instant, and from that moment, we were inseparable. But life wasn't just about the farm. Joanne, for all her beauty and charm, had never quite gotten her hands dirty, not until we built our house. She was a city girl at heart, but I admired her willingness to be a part of this life with me. We talked often about our future, about how the farm might always be our reality. And she assured me that was fine. She was happy with the simple, rustic life we were building, with me by her side. For years, this rhythm continued. We worked together, raised our boys, and ran the farm as a family. But as the boys grew up and began their own journeys, Joanne took a leap into something new. A friend convinced her to join a direct sales company, selling cosmetics. At first, it seemed harmless. She was always confident, but her self-doubt had crept in. She asked me, often, if I thought she was pretty, something I'd never expected from her. I reassured her every time, because, in my eyes, she was stunning. But then something changed. Slowly, I began to notice a shift in her. The enthusiasm she once had for the farm waned. She didn't ask about my day, no longer pitched in with the chores, small things she had once done without thinking. I was confused, but chalked it up to her starting a new career path. When we talked, she explained she was doing what made her happy, and I encouraged her to follow that path. It wasn't long before Joanne's sales job began to reward her in ways I hadn't expected. The company gave her a new car, a German one, the kind that made heads turn in town. She had always been humble, but now there was a shift. She started wearing designer clothes, getting her nails done, things she'd never done before. I tried to be supportive, understanding that this was part of the job. After all, she was working hard and earning her success. But with her success came a change in her demeanor. She was different. More confident, perhaps, but also distant. She'd go away for work, to places like Miami, Las Vegas, New Orleans, and return home full of energy and stories about her adventures. I was proud of her, but something was off. She was so full of life, perhaps too much so. But was I just being paranoid? Was it jealousy creeping in, or was there something more to this? Then came the trip to Mexico. She had excelled in her job and earned a reward, a getaway to Mexico, only for the top salespeople. At first, I was excited. Mexico, something new for both of us. But then came the twist, no family allowed. Just the top earners. I couldn't help but feel a bit uneasy, but I pushed it aside. She deserved the reward, after all. When she returned from the trip, she couldn't stop talking about Dom, this man she had met there. He was the sales director, a tall, dark, and handsome man from Los Angeles. The way she described him, how he was so driven, so charming, left me with an uneasy feeling. They drank at the poolside bar, played beach volleyball. She didn't seem to mind telling me all about him, in vivid detail. Was it just professional admiration, or was there something else? I tried not to let it bother me. After all, she had a good time, and I was proud of her achievements. But the way she spoke about him, it stung. Was this just my jealousy, or was there something deeper? Still, I convinced myself I was overreacting. But then, in April, I came home to find a package on the kitchen table, addressed to Joanne, from Dom. What was this? I left it there, unsure whether I should bring it up. But when dinner came, it was hard to ignore the shiny new watch on her wrist, something I hadn't seen her buy. She was usually eager to show off her new purchases. I asked her about the watch, and her answer left me with a sinking feeling. It was from Dom. What was going on? It came in today, this unexpected gift, wrapped carefully and almost too perfectly. I couldn't help but feel a pang of suspicion. From her company, she said. A reward for all her hard work. But, was it really? I asked, casually, was this from someone specific at your company? Her response was quick, nope, just a group thank you. I didn't press further, but deep down, I knew she wasn't being honest. The gift didn't have that corporate touch. It was too personal, too. Dom. It had his fingerprints all over it, figuratively speaking. But I held my tongue, at least, for now. Later that night, lying beside her in bed, I couldn't take it anymore. Was she attracted to Dom? The question slipped out before I could stop it. She froze, her face a mask of shock, as though the very idea was preposterous. Of course not, she said, looking offended, genuinely offended. You're the only man I've ever been attracted to. But was I convinced? Not for a second. Something felt off. I told her how uncomfortable I was with the relationship she had with Dom, how it wasn't just about the gift or her work, but about something deeper, something I couldn't shake. The argument that followed, it was explosive. She claimed there was nothing between them, that I was just jealous of her success, of her breaking records. She accused me of being bitter because she wasn't working on the farm anymore. But I didn't back down. No, this wasn't about the farm. It was about Dom and the trust one no longer had in him, or in her. I laid it out. Imagine if someone was sending me gifts and I kept it a secret from you. She immediately defended herself, her words fast and rehearsed. It's a work thing. It's just a gift for the sales and records I've been breaking, she said, as though the explanation could soothe my growing doubts. If you were breaking records, she added, I'd hope you were getting compensated, too. But nothing she said could shake my suspicions. That night, I ended up in the spare room, tossing and turning, thinking. The next day, she came to me like nothing had happened, full of affection, kisses, playful slaps, and a suggestion of a trip to reconnect. I wasn't fooled, not after the night we had. And then, the trip. She had to go on a work trip that weekend, one she conveniently forgot to mention. Nashville, she said, when I asked. Important, she added. Mandatory training. Only 3 days. I wasn't buying it. Why Nashville? Why hadn't she mentioned it before? Something was wrong, something didn't fit. And then the call came, the Hyatt Regency. In Phoenix. Wait. Phoenix? She was supposed to be in Nashville. Emma, the receptionist, explained there was an issue with the reservation, something about the payment not matching the name on the card. Red flags. I asked if anyone else was listed under the room, and sure enough, there it was, Mr. Dominic. What the hell? I didn't blow up, not yet, but I did text Joanne immediately, why is Dom checked into your room? We need to talk. Now. Her response was a quick one, it's nothing, just work. I'll explain when I get back. But the damage was done. My blood was boiling. That night, she tried to text, calling me, but I wasn't having it. Instead, I turned to my brother. I needed someone, anyone, to talk to. We sat outside, drank, and hashed out what to do next. It was clear, this wasn't going to end quietly. The next day, I got confirmation, Dom was in her room in Phoenix, not Nashville. She tried to spin a story about a mix-up with the conference location. But I wasn't having it. Lying, I said. You've been lying to me. That's when the tears came. She broke down, begging for forgiveness, claiming it was a huge mistake, that it was just the once and how it all meant nothing. But no. It didn't feel like just a mistake. It felt like a betrayal. When I told her to leave, she hesitated, but my brother was firm. He told her to pack her things, to go stay somewhere else, and to give me some space. I never thought I'd be in this position. Watching her walk out, everything I thought I knew about us, about her, shattered in an instant. What followed was a blur of investigation, of discovering Dom's life, his family, and a marriage he was clearly hiding. Fueled by anger and a few drinks, I reached out to his wife, exposing the affair in its rawest form. I had to. It was the right thing to do. Joanne tried to get into the house later that night, furious at me for spilling everything. She tried to play the victim, tried to beg me to believe her lies, but it was too late. I knew. She admitted she was unhappy, that she hated the farm, the life we built. She'd been pretending for years. But now? Now, she was free. Free to chase the city lights, to live a life of luxury and deceit. And when I told her I was contacting a divorce lawyer, the tears started again. Begging for forgiveness, for another chance. But my heart? It was already gone. I told her to leave, that it was over. She didn't even fight me. Fast forward to the divorce. I came out on top. I kept the house, the farm, the business. My brother, my rock through it all, helped me navigate the nightmare. Joanne got a few acres back, some shares of the business, but nothing more. As for Dom, his account went private, and from what I could see, his marriage ended. Karma, right? Now, life is quiet. Life is good. The farm is thriving. Business is steady. I'm steady. No more lies, no more drama. I've earned my peace. I'll be here, on this land, until the end. And honestly, I'm more than okay with that. Here's to the future. The only surprises now come from the land, not from people who break your trust. You've earned this, and you're living proof that hard work and honesty still count for something real.